Okay, so in this one, what I want to show you is a color space trick that you can use to fix when you misinterpret your read node in Nuke and that you put the wrong color space in one of them. Since there are so many cameras right now in the market, it's very easy and common to put the wrong color space in your read node, and that you realize at the end that you have misinterpreted the read node color space and that you are not delivering what you got at the first place. So what I want to show you is how you can fix this kind of problem without redoing all the color correction that you've put in your comp. So even though this technique might look very obvious at first, this is actually an interview question that I ask to a lot of artists when doing interview for a job. And I'd say that 9 people out of 10 will fail this question on how to fix this color space problem that I'm going to show you. A lot of them will tell me that they need to redo all the color correction of their CG element to match the new correctly interpreted read node. But like I'll be showing you, with just a simple color space node here and then in your node graph, you can easily fix all the problem without doing any adjustment to your color correction. So let's bring our footage and CG element in our comp. So we have a CG render made in EXR as well as our plate that is in DPX. So we bring both element in our comp and we start to integrate, let's say, the CG element over our plate here. So we'll just make a simple grain node as well as a merge to put it over our plate. And now we see that we need to do some color correction to match our plate here. So we'll just do a very quick color grading to match the plate. So we'll just unpremult by the alpha and then just match really fast the black level. So let's say we want to match this black level here as well as the white point of our plate. So now this is just a simple, very simple grain node, but now you could be spending days or a week doing various color correction on multiple CG paths that need to integrate this plate here. So now let's say that you have spent weeks on this comp and that you are rendering your final output. So we know that we need to render this in Cineon color space. So we'll just call this comp.dpx, and by default we have our Cineon color space here, which is the one we want to do our delivery. So we'll just render a single frame like that, render this, and now what will happen is you will get a phone call a few days later telling you that, yeah, your comp looks good, but you are delivering it in a different color than the original plate. So now you question yourself, you bring back the comp to take a look, and you compare this to your tree, and you don't see any color mismatch. But then you realize that if you take a look at your comp original read here of your plate, for some reason Nuke has interpreted the read node in sRGB color space, which is the wrong color space. It should have been Cineon. And now you realize that if you change it back to Cineon and take a look at your comp, all the color correction that you have put on your CG render are not matching the plate anymore. So what do you do in those cases where you've spent months color correcting all your CG element to match your plate, but yet you realize that you have the wrong color space? You don't want to spend days fixing all those color correction just because you have changed the color space of your plate. So now the goal is to find a way to keep all those grades that you've spent so much time to match your plate, but then revert it so that the render will match the original plate that should have been in Cineon. So since we'll just put back this in the erroneous sRGB color space where all our color grading are matching. So now, yeah, we've put the wrong color space in the read node, But we know that all our color correction that we've made match this wrong color space. So if you have done your job correctly, you can do anything at the end, and the integration will still work since you've matched your black, your white. So you can do anything at the end, and all those elements will stay in the same world. So the goal here is just before the right node to do some color space tweaking to get back to our original Cineon color space. So there's two ways that you can fix this kind of problem. So like I was telling you at the beginning, a lot of artists will tell me that they'll do all the color correction fix here to match the corrected interpreted read node. But all you have to do is go in your right node here and actually put the same wrong color space that you have put in the plate here. So now if you select sRGB and render our comp here, now if we reload our comp and put it in Cineon, we see now that if we compare to the corrected interpreted read node plate here, which is Cineon, now we've got back to the original color of the plate, but also our CG element is following the same color transformation. And since it was matching in the tree here, it's still following all the black level and the white level as well. But the other way you can do, if you want to put the right color space in your right node to avoid some confusion, you can leave it as Cineon, which is the correct color space that you need to output. But then you need to add some color space node to fix it before the right node. So how do we fix this? Well, first we'll make a new color space node and we'll put it just before the right node. So now what we want to do is go back to the wrong color space that we have interpreted in our plate here. So here in our tree, we are currently in linear color space, and we want to go back to sRGB color space. So we'll put sRGB. So now we have went back to the sRGB color space that we've put in the read node. But then we want to reinterpret this color space as it should have been at the first place. So we'll put another color space node, and then we'll tell our input is the correct color space, which is Cineon, and that then we want to go in linear color space. So doing those two color space here, we're fixing, well, at the first place, the wrong color space, which is sRGB. So we wrap back our color space back to sRGB. And in the second color space, we do the correct interpretation that we should have done at the first place when we interpreted this plate here. So now we're in the correct color space, and then we can just leave how it should be in the right node. So we leave Cineon in the right node. So just to resume, if you have a plate here that you have put the wrong color space, or that Nuke has put a wrong color space for you, and that you have spent so much time integrating all your element on it, and that you realize that at the end you have the wrong color space, simply put either a two color space like that to fix back to the wrong color space and then do the correct interpretation, or simply connect your right node at the end but just put the same wrong color space that you had at the first place, and this will give you the right color space that is matching your original plate.